Hello, my name is Matt, and this is an attempt to document some of my medical experience with what I'm expecting to be some form of lymphoma. I casually went to go see a DO, Doctor of Osteopathy, which is kind of like a regular doctor, but they take a little bit of a whole body approach to medicine as opposed to focusing on one in particular problem. And just casually was mentioning to him, I get these red eyes all the time, and was concerned, is this an allergy thing? I was suspecting ocular rosacea or something, and I'm not a guy who goes to doctors much at all. And he was like, kind of discounted the whole thing, was just like, yeah, it could be those things, but what's going on with your neck there? And I'd had this swollen, what I thought, I thought it was like swollen glands, but it had been going on for at least a year. It was just kind of on this one side. My wife had noticed it, but like I said, I don't really like going to doctors, so I wasn't, seeking an immediate solution for it. So this DO, I always like to say, or I've seen that DOs seem to not be afraid to put their hands on you to check you out, whereas an MD, just asks you a bunch of questions and checks it off. I know I'm stereotyping, but that's just my experience so far. So he said, go see an ear, nose, and throat specialist. So, there's a particular hospital in town that I wanted to use, so I called their ear, nose, and throat specialty people. And they're like, oh, we can't get you a referral. I mean, without a referral, we can't get you in for at least like a month or two. So I was like, okay, well, I don't have a primary care doctor, so I don't have anyone to really give me a referral. The DO that I saw was in a casual, informal environment. It wasn't like a professional, doctor's appointment, where there's a record or a thing or anything. It was just a friend that asked about something. Or a friend of a friend, really. And, excuse me. And so I called my insurance company and I asked if they could just recommend a ear, nose, and throat person. And so the office that I called was cool. They got me in like a week's time. So I go in, I think he's going to kind of look at it and check it out. And within like the first 10 minutes, he wanted to do a biopsy, something that he referred to as like a fine needle aspiration. So essentially, he took me from that room into a surgery room, took some, what's the stuff they use? Novocaine, general anesthesia, and then used, I never saw it, but it felt like a corkscrew, essentially, in my neck mass, taking out a segment of it. Didn't hurt that bad. Went back to work a couple hours later, kind of freaked out. I spent the next several days doing a lot of research on what it could probably be, and I had narrowed it down in my mind to either goiter, lymphoma, or thyroid cancer. Now thyroid, it seems like it's very specific, one location that can kind of just take it out, and you should be in good luck if it hasn't been progressing too far. A goiter, I'm not really sure how they deal with it, but it's non-cancerous as far as I know, where it's benign. So I'm waiting to hear, and he calls me up and maybe at the end of the week, and basically says the results are, what's the word he used? The words he used were, we got no definitive answers. So I took that as inconclusive. He later set up an appointment for me to come in and talk with him about it a few days later, and it seemed like he got some answers from it. They had eliminated it being just a fatty mass, or it sounds like a goiter, and I think they pretty much eliminated it being thyroid cancer. So that really leaves lymphoma. But he wasn't able to to specify that, to refer me over to an oncologist. I think that's the right word. I don't know. This is all very new to me. So the plan is to do an actual cellular removal biopsy, just cut a chunk out of it. So that's what we did yesterday. So yesterday morning, I went in. They, at 6 o'clock in the morning, they put me under, and they took a big cell sample out of it. I don't know what it looks like. It's this big bandage right here. It should be supposed to be butterflied underneath. It's supposed to not be that big of a incision. It doesn't feel very comfortable. I mean, it's just sore. So I'll be waiting to see. With lymphoma, there seems to be Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's, and there's 5 or 6 subcategories underneath there. Some are like you have 90 days to live, some you have 60 years to live. So I don't know where I'm at. The whole thing's pretty scary. Probably my biggest concern is that chemotherapy is the primary treatment for lymphoma. And I'm sure if they classify it as that or diagnose me officially with that, it's going to be this rush to get me right into chemotherapy. And in the minimal research that I've done, I think I've already decided that if it's stage 1, I'm going to try to beat this with strictly nutrition and lifestyle changes. I've already started switching over to what's called an alkaline diet, which is basically a vegan raw diet. I've always joked about how veganism is ridiculous, so I'm not calling it a vegan diet because I'm still going to eat things like honey and probably some eggs. I think a 70-30 relationship is probably, 70% alkaline, 30% acidic foods is probably going to be a good start. I haven't even seen where I am in this classification, but I'm trying to jumpstart this. I've also started something called essiac tea, which is, my understanding is it's a old Native American detox tea or lymphatic stimulator tea that was developed and almost standardized in more of a medical sense by a Canadian nurse. And there's a lot of information on the internet. essiac, I think, essiac. Was recommended by a friend of mine from Iraq, was recommended by someone, my wife's friend's grandmother. So a lot of people have had, nearly, if not complete, wipeout of cancer with a combination of a high alkaline, raw, mostly vegan diet in conjunction with this essiac tea. That's all I can think of right now. I'll probably have another video once I hear what's going on. That's the latest.